This is the Transcend in Life podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson, taking you from fear to freedom.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Transcend in Life, Tuesday Tune-Up with the Ryersons. To my right today, I have Miss Lisa Ryerson.
Good morning.
Is it really a good morning? How are you feeling this morning? Give it to me. Are you feeling amazing right now?
No, but I'm going to fake it till I make it. You know, somebody who, I'm not going to name names, but somebody who I sleep next to on a nightly basis was snoring quite a bit last night.
I didn't think your bear was real. That's weird. Little Barry was snoring all night? That's weird.
Yeah, no, that would be you. I'll name names.
So she's going into the past, which that's a big part of what we're going to talk about. Look, past, present, and future. This is one of those subjects that has a very visceral response from people. Recently had an example of this. I won't name names, but when I say what I'm going to say, people get very, very, I don't know, it's very polarizing. It's very interesting to watch. But what we're talking about today, past is pain, future is anxiety, and present is everything. So when I say that to you, what does that mean to you?
Well, so the present part is my favorite, right? Because it is everything. And if you're not being present at all times, right, which is sometimes hard to do that, but it means that you are in the moment, right? So if you're out with your friends at dinner, you're having engaging conversations with them. You are not looking at your phone. You're not thinking about what happened yesterday. You're not thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow type of situation. You know, the past is pain. I think that's where people get tripped up at. I mean, I know I get tripped up on that sometimes too, because I don't feel like the past is always pain, but I see where that comes from, right? Because yes, there are painful things that have happened in everyone's past, right? That's normal, but there also has been amazing things that have happened in the past. And so I think what the argument to that is, well, if things were so amazing in the past, then you are now in pain because you're not living the best thing, right? You're not experiencing the best thing that you have in the past. So that's kind of the gist of what I get from that.
I mean, you're pretty darn spot on. So you're right. Not everything in our past is painful. Not everything in our past sucks. In fact, there are amazing memories. I love going back and reminiscing. That is one of my favorite things to do with friends. However, what I want people to think about when you go to the past and you're like, oh my God, it was so amazing back then. What are you saying about your present moment today? What are you saying about what's happening today? Now, maybe it's amazing. Okay, cool. But this particular saying that I use a lot with clients is saying, don't live back in the past. Don't live in the future, because again, we'll get to future's anxiety. And unfortunately, this is one that you as a planner struggle with certainly more than I do, right? But that's what the past is pain means. It means if you're looking back and you're going, oh my gosh, I remember how amazing this was. What are you saying about your present moment today? It's not good. And so that's where the past is pain comes in. So let's talk about future is anxiety, because I watch, especially right now, with the election happening, with various other things going on, people get really wrapped up in this. And I wish if I could do nothing else is just say, don't worry about that, because there's nothing you can do right this second to affect that change. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah. You know, I'm definitely the person that would be more anxious, right? Because once again, as a planner, I like knowing exactly what's going to happen every minute of the day for the rest of my life. I'm just kidding. That was far-fetched. But I do. I look forward and I go, okay, what is this going to look like? You know, oh my gosh, we have this going on. What is that going to look like? How is the party going to happen? How is this going to happen? And I'm constantly worrying about that. And I'm very grateful that I have you to stop me in my tracks and go, hey, you know what? It's going to be great. Let's not worry about the future, because there's nothing that you can do right now to change that. Like, what's going to happen is going to happen. And So definitely that is something that I'm constantly working on and saying, you know what? The next chapter, it's an adventure and it's just going to happen when it happens and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I see this mainly. I'll talk about being with our kids or being in present company. And one of the things you talked about is you want to be 100% in the moment because life is so fleeting. We're not here for very long. So the moments that we do have, you want to make it last, right? Like, so for instance, if I think about the kids are going off to college, right? Just saying that to you right now, like TJ's going to college in 3.5 years. What happens to you?
I definitely start worrying. I go, oh my gosh, am I gonna be like super sad when he leaves? I mean, of course I will be, right? How is he gonna do in college? Is he gonna like being in the door? Just all these things start coming up and worries and anxiety.
Well, good news, TJ. She didn't celebrate and say, oh, right, I can use that as my craft room. But no, for me, it scares the living shit out of me. Like that is, if you want to ask some of the things that really, like, if I'm thinking about it, scare me, that's one of them because there are kids. We've raised them since they were first day. I don't want to think about it. So why do it? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to be with him every moment that I can right now. Now, do I do a great job of that? Sometimes. Sometimes I'm a great dad. Sometimes I'm a really crappy dad, and that sucks. But my goal is to be 100% present with him right now. Enjoy him as the 14-year-old with the crazy squeaky voice. Sorry, teacher, getting beat up a little bit on this one. But with that, that voice that's changing in puberty, things that are driving me nuts. There's going to be a day where we are going to miss that squeaky voice like you wouldn't believe. Yes, don't.
I don't know about that, JM, because I've asked him to stop talking until his voice changes. So we may differ in that arena.
No matter what, I promise we will look back and go, oh my gosh, do you remember? And again, now we'll be thinking about the past. But the point is to stay present with your people, your kids, your business, your everything. Just like right now, this is all focused on this audience, you and me right now. And I want to give you everything I got. I don't want to think about whether this is going to be good. That would make me anxious. That would make me think, oh my gosh, I better do better right now. No, just perform 100% in the right now and it will end up being incredible. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'll give you a word on that one. Yes.
You will give me a word?
Like word.
Like word to your mother?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what are some other suggestions? You had mentioned maybe putting the phone down in terms of being present. But if present is everything, if that is true, if people can buy into that idea, what are some other ways that people can truly be present?
Yeah, so something I can just tell from, my personal experience, something that I've been really working on for, I wouldn't say the last 6 years, is listening, right? So when I'm out to dinner with my girlfriends is really, truly listening to what they're saying, bringing it, just really embracing that and listening, because I think far too often, I know I was like this, prior to me working on this, I'd be hearing them. And then I was waiting for them to stop talking so then I could say what I was ready to say, right? And that's not cool because you're not really being present. You're thinking like, okay, just shut up already so I can say my piece, right? I want to talk. And so that is something that I'm constantly working on, is truly listening to what they're saying, because I've been blessed with such amazing girlfriends, and they remember every word that I've said. I mean, they'll bring up things like few years later and be like, oh, I remember you were telling me about so-and-so and, your kids and doing this. I'm like, how do you remember that? Right. And that's what made me start going, gosh, I really need to start listening better and being more present, because they are so amazing. I want to be just like them.
Yeah. And that's actually something with this podcast that I've learned. I've done podcasts with people I've known forever and learned so much about them because I'm asking deeper questions. It's amazing how often we'll be around friends, but it's very surface level. Oh, how's the kids? How's work? And it's like, who cares? Tell me about you. Tell me some of the things you're dealing with. And that's what I do on this show. I ask people questions that they literally haven't thought about, but when they say it, I learn so much. So that's something I'm working on for sure, is doing that. One of the things, if for you business owners out there, this is a really important one, because I know for myself, so often when you do goals, and I'm huge on goals, you guys know that I talk about writing them down, putting them in your mirror. That's a huge thing. But you're like, oh, it's going to be so amazing when. And you're like, dude, it's amazing right now. It's the creation part that's amazing. And I know there are times that it sucks and you're putting in crazy hours. But if you look back, and when I do look back, the best times are when we were broke. We had nothing, but we were busting our ass and we had just each other. So again, that's going in the past, right? But in the moment, had I said, this is the best moment right now. And if you live every second that way, like this is the best moment. Matt Boudreau talked about putting the best 20 minutes in a row, and he would do that again and again and again. That really resonated with you. So do you use that? Do you employ that strategy?
Absolutely. So a few things came to mind while you were talking as I was listening to
good
you.
Good job. You weren't just waiting for me to shut up.
Nope, not right now. I'm not. Is enjoying the process, right? It's really, that's what makes us, right? Enjoying the process, enjoying every step of the way. And Matt Boudreau is a phenomenal human. And he was on the podcast a few months ago, and what he said really just hit me, because it's something that I have been working on, right? For so long, backstory, I did a lot of things out of obligation, right? It's like, okay, so my kids, whatever, their friends want to go do something with the moms, and I'll just go along with it, right? And I would do it, and then I would come home and I go, wow, that really wasn't the best time. Right. I'm so busy in my normal life. Like I just wasted 2 hours of my life and it wasn't the best time. So now what Matt had said in his podcast was 20 minutes, right? You look at every single day in 20-minute blocks, and is the next 20 minutes, whoever you're going to spend it with, if it's by yourself, if it's with other people, you ask yourself these questions. Is the next 20 minutes going to lift you up? Is it going to lift up the other person that you're with? Is it going to lift up the community or your family? And if you can't say yes to one of those 4 things, then it is not worth your time. It really isn't. And over the years, and I've said this before in other previous podcasts, but you do a lot of things out of obligation or just to appease other people, right? So I've been doing that for years. I'd say yes to things. Yeah, no problem. I'll do it, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, something really switched. I don't know if it's an age. No, I'm going to age myself. But at 40, there was a big turning point for me. And I realized there were people in my life that wasn't, maybe I wasn't serving them or they weren't serving me. And it just was a relationship to get together, but not really truly lifting each other up. And so I've had to really separate myself from, not that they're bad people, they're amazing humans, right? But just not in alignment with me, right? So now when every situation it may be, that's how I look at it. Is the next 20 minutes going to lift up my child, my children, my family, the community, myself, or the person I'm with?
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for you, but I will say at 40, a couple things happen. You become really comfortable in your skin for whatever reason. And I'm not sure if that's like, okay, time is finite and half my life is over. Unfortunately, if you look at the reality, the actuarial tables, it's possible. And so that's where we really start to value what we're doing. I don't know if that's what happens, because you're not the first person to say that. And it's and so it's not, I think we just kind of come to this realization, like, I'm not going to spend my time on stuff that doesn't lift me up, lift them up. It's not serving, people. It's just out of obligation. That sounds terrible. And that's why it's so precious, these moments, these present moments, because nothing is guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. That is one of the only certainties, is nothing is guaranteed. I'm not guaranteed to be here tomorrow. That's a scary proposition, so I don't want to think about that. So what that means is I'm going to give everything I have to this moment right now. And I'm going to continue to do that again and again and again. And I hope if more people can just take that and use it and just say, I'm going to show up as the best version of myself right now. Well, watch what happens with that cumulative effect. It's really incredible. So I love this subject. I mean, literally, I know we kind of talked about keeping these to 15 minutes. If there's anything else you want to say on it, please do. But I could talk and yammer on about this forever because it's so important to me. Staying present, giving everything to the person, the product, the thing, whatever you're doing at that time, giving it everything you got, because it's incredible what comes out on the other side.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this. I read a quote actually just 2 days ago, and it said, live your life as if it's your last. And that stuck with me over the last 2 days. I've been thinking about that. I go, gosh, if this was my last day, I mean, obviously I would be, I don't know, in Paris or something. So not quite feasible today. I mean, maybe, but it's really just being the best version of yourself every single day. And something I started, I don't even know if you know about this, but something I started with my youngest, because we'll go to Starbucks or to Jamba Juice and we do these fun, he doesn't have school on Fridays. So we have fun Fridays and we go do something. And I talked to him about at least being conscious of doing one good deed a day. So if it's buying somebody a cup of coffee, right, in line, which I've done, I'll pay for the next leave like $5 or $6 for the next person. If it's, telling somebody that they look just absolutely amazing that day, you would not believe how that could lift somebody up so much. And I do that all the time. I'll see some lady that's just got it going on while I'm walking around my pajamas. And I'm like, gosh, you just look absolutely fabulous today. And it just totally makes their day. So one good deed a day minimum, right? I'm sure we all do a lot more than that, but just consciously doing that every single day.
No, I've actually tried to do what you suggested, and I did get slapped across the face. I said, man, you look gorgeous. And no, I'm just kidding. No, it is. I'm so glad because so often we'll keep that inside our brain. And it's like, that looks incredible. Tell them. Yeah. Tell them. I remember we were walking down in Tahoe and that dude was walking by with his shoes on. I'm like, bro, those are incredible shoes. And he's like, thank you. Thank you so much. Guess what? I ended up buying 2 of them just because he sold me on them. And I'm like, it was just some random stranger walking by, but it made his day. And more importantly, I got to talk to somebody that was pretty cool for 30 seconds. I love that stuff. So anyway, I love this subject, guys. Go out, be present, forget about the past. Now, remember your good stuff. That's fine. Don't think about the future. That's fine if you plan. Just remember to stay present in the now. So I love you, babe. This is fun. I thought this was amazing.
Love you too.
All right, you guys, until next time, continue to transcend in life. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to transcendinlifepodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Transcend in Life podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson, taking you from fear to freedom.